If I don't have the right care, I can't live, I can't be independent. To be free, to be able to work, be able to run my business and employ people. But the rules and regulations are thwarting what could be getting things right. I think the contributions to actually improve home care have to come from all parties. When I was first approached by Nick with the deep theory, I thought, oh yeah, just another one, like. The more I looked into it, the more I thought, yes, this is how it should be. As somebody in receipt of who's supported by social care, I thought that if I can contribute, then fantastic.
So what is DEEP? DEEP, it's a co-production approach to using diverse types of evidence, using story and dialogue methods.
DEEP is a set of values and a set of processes and a set of tools, and I think an imagination.
The world of social care and health, we feel, should be like a beautiful garden. There's an ecology, isn't there, in care services, really, and lots of players in that. There are practitioners, there are managers, there are people supported by services, there are researchers, there's all sorts of people. So DEEP is around how do we enrich that, how do we nurture that beautiful garden where good things happen for people. So we use a gardening metaphor. We say when you want to create a beautiful garden, the first thing you need to concentrate on is the soil, isn't it? You've got to get the soil right, because it's pointless if you've got an impoverished soil. And so much of the world of health and social care is quite impoverished. There's a lot of bureaucracy and pressure on people.
Carers are under such pressure, going from one call to another, with very little time in between.
We concentrate a lot with people, exploring their working environment, the organisational structure, and whether it's conducive to people engaging with evidence. Then once you've got the soil right, what are the seeds you need in your garden? What types of knowledge do you need? And of course, it's very diverse. You need knowledge from research, but then you've got the lived experience of people supported by services.
If I didn't say a word to the carers who came round, and they just looked at my care plan, I wouldn't be a very happy bunny. Carers have to conform to certain rules and regulations they get and how they're trained to do things. How I'm handled, and it's different to maybe somebody who's 8 stone and frail, and I have multiple sclerosis, and when I'm relaxed, things are a lot easier. But I only have to tense up and my whole body locks up, if you like. I'm sitting in my chair one night, ready for have my sling put on, and all of a sudden a hand's behind me and I'm shoved forwards, and my whole body locks. It's not a nice feeling, all of a sudden being shoved from behind. I was no good to anybody, I was just as lock solid. And I was told, oh, we can't move you anymore like that. We've been trained, new training we've had, we've got to put our hands behind people's backs and pull them forward.
Of course, the third strand of gardening is how do you tend the garden and grow it? And again, what we're finding is dialogue and talking well together is the most important thing, not telling people what to do, but presenting and sharing things with people and exploring things in context. And there's a real danger in this world that one type of knowledge dominates, whether it be research or practitioner knowledge. It's the way we've always done it around here. What can research tell us? So co-production needs to value all those different voices.
Nick and I have talked a lot about that kind of Leonard Cohen quote, you look for the crack because that's how the light gets in. So in some ways what we're trying to do is, through this, using a metaphor of a garden, growing a garden, is to look at kind of new ways that we can pull together different understandings through the DEEP process. But it's quite tricky work because we've got people who are, seeing the world in particular ways. They've got knowledge frameworks that are important to them. We've got all sorts of power issues that are associated with that. So the DEEP approach is about dialogical methods. How do we talk together? How do we share different ways of seeing the world? How do we pull that together? How do we critique? How do we advance knowledge? We've worked across Wales, so we've worked with local authorities, so the work of Nikki and Ash.
With our DEEP colleagues, we spent a lot of time actually exploring, talking about our shared understanding of well-being. We learnt that people make people happy. Bringing people together and starting conversations and encouraging people to use spaces like this to come together. People don't want to be recipients of services, they want to be able to continue to participate and get involved.
These polytunnels and the space at the grounds in Mardy Park support 30 or 40 people every week to come and stay well by way of gardening, shared experiences, shared activities, which is so vital for well-being, to engage with the natural world, to engage with the trees and the rain and the sunshine.
That's the beauty of just creating the conditions. We bring people together over a shared interest and you just let that grow and you water those seeds and the whole thing takes off and it's beautiful.
It was really nice to learn about all the work around magic moments because it validated all of the magic moments we see day in, day out, really, when we work with people. All of those fantastic little gems that illustrate to us that somebody is living a better life than they used to, and that's really, really important to see and to frame in that way.
We need to remind people why this sector is the most amazing place to work. They underestimate and they don't realise how important the work that they're doing is, and they don't realise how flexible and how adaptable they are. By having those magic moments, it makes them see that this high level research is actually talking about them and it's actually relating to the roles that they do. It's so collaborative and it's very easy to be part of the Deep project. It's very inclusive, it's very friendly, and you feel that you're giving something, you feel like you're being beneficial.
We've got organised ways to actually get people to listen and hear about different forms of knowledge. So we've got methods like exploratory talk. Exploratory talk pulls out the values for the individuals that are having those conversations.
Regulation kills kindness. You can use that as a provocative statement to look at the rules and regulations and the red tape that sometimes constrains methods. But of course, the minute you say regulation kills kindness, you'll have some people saying, "Oh, I don't think, how dare you say that? I don't think it does." And then other people say, "Well, I think it does because," and then you say, "Oh, that's interesting. We've got different views on this. Let's go deeper."
It's a process of unsettling established kind of understandings that if you have an opportunity to listen to someone else that sees the world in a very different way, the idea there is that it might help others think differently and open up kind of new spaces of understanding.
So sometimes one of the criticisms is, "Well, what are you going to do? Tell me what you're going to do over the next 12 months. And I say, well, it all depends really. It all depends on the context. And that is co-production again. Co-production, you can't predict and plan.
It's the impact that you're trying to measure, that you're trying to evaluate, and you can only do that through some of the research methodologies that we've used, particularly most significant change, which is people's experiences, people's stories, people's narrative.
Time after time, people feed back to us that this is really important for their well-being, and that feels great.
It's basically given me my life back. I was basically isolated for 8-9 years and I didn't go outside my front door before I come here. And now I got back again with my family, I got friends, but more than anything I feel healthy, I got confidence, my dog's got a better life, Skippy, because obviously he has lots of walks now as well.
I always think with research, you should be looking at outcomes. You can't write a paper on how social care can be delivered if you're not working with people who are actually delivering social care. And it's the same as people in receipt of social care.
So we find through this process that people, say practitioners, become more aware of the power of research and what research can offer to practice, but also how they can inform research and use research in what it is that they do. There's something quite wonderful about having a process which can enable different perspectives to come together, put aside kind of rigidly held views and look for what might be a common way forward.
It's an amazing feeling when you find a carer who can go the extra mile to make you feel comfortable. It's almost like having a friend come in. I feel happy.